Senator, thank you for being here.
No, thanks for asking me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to meet you and have you here and to ask you about your work. So let's start with the fact that you've had a long career in the fire service before you became a senator. So tell me about that.
Yes, I actually started as a firefighter with the St. Cloud Fire Department, and I served as a firefighter there for about 8 years. Then moved into the fire marshal's office, dealing with codes and fire investigations, arson investigations. And then once there, then I moved actually over to the city of Waite Park. Was their only full-time firefighter there for 10 years, and so I retired from the full-time force and after 60. Well, no, wait a minute. I retired from the full-time force after 26 years, and then but during that time I was also on the R-Rockville Fire Department as a volunteer and served 19 years on that department, and served in various capacities as an EMT, as a captain, and actually as the fire chief for a couple of years.
Now, Senator, during your time in the fire service, you obviously became well acquainted with some of the issues that the people in our fire service face, especially regarding their health. And I know that's been something that you've really attempted to improve since you've been here in the Senate legislatively. So talk to me about some of that work you've done.
Well, yes, we've, a lot of our firefighters end up with a lot of occupational hazards. There's a lot of cancer, there's a lot of psychological. I've suffered with some of that myself. So when you go to all these traumatic scenes, that stuff sticks with you. I can remember one incident that every time I closed my eyes for about 3 days, that's what I seen. So very stressful, and back in the day, there was no place really to go for that. So with that, we started looking, and these other firefighters brought to us this Hometown Heroes assistance program, that thought. So, and it was an honor to be part of that, and part of that, moving that through, and so I hopefully here, and we've seen that program provide a great deal of success and value to a lot of our firefighters throughout the state.
Senator, tell me more about that program. Who is it open to, and what resources does it offer? Well,
it's open to, there's about 20,000 firefighters throughout the state, both career, paid on call, volunteer, and this provides this assistance to all Minnesota firefighters. So it encompasses all of them. And it provides not only it provides up to a $20,000 payment, depending upon what occupational hazard you've come in, whether you've got cancer, heart attack, those types of things. It varies in the amount. But it also provides help and training for preparing you for some of these events that you're going to face. So you're better prepared mentally for some of the events that you might see, some of the tragic things that you might have to deal with. So it prepares them for a lot of that. It's probably the most encompassing program in the nation.
It actually has earned a title very similar to that. It has been called the most comprehensive firefighter well-being initiative in the nation. That is incredibly impressive. Tell me about that.
Well, I don't think anywhere else that it provides the training for the awareness on cancer, the stuff on cardiac disease, emotional trauma. It's got a whole host of training that they go out free of charge to provide to fire departments. And then when one of these, if you are an active firefighter and come down with cancer, and there's a number of cancers it covers, they actually provide funding for those families so it helps them deal with that cancer that they're dealing with. The other thing is it provides actual counseling for different events, and I think there's up to 5 counseling sessions free of charge per year. So it's really helpful for not only the firefighter but their families, because the families go through this too. So it helps them deal with these incidences.
And I have to imagine it has a good impact on their communities that they serve as well, right? If we can keep them in those jobs.
Well, and that's the important part. We are struggling to keep firefighters in boots, is what we like to call it. And this helps us. It's a great asset to help them deal with that. And the best thing, you have to, what people don't understand, it's hard to talk to someone that's not been there, right? Have not seen that. And this actually provides some peer-to-peer counseling with people that actually have done this, seen it, dealt with those incidents, which really helps be able to talk to someone about it, because it's hard to relate to someone that's never felt those, never dealt with what you've dealt with.
And talking about that, what you're hearing and talking to other members of the fire service, what are they telling you about this program since it's been rolled out?
It's been very beneficial to not only families but firefighters, and actually with the payout piece, the insurance piece, they paid out, well, I think it's $5.7 million to somewhere less than 600 firefighters. So it's been a big benefit for that. And what's unique about this is it's not a state program, really. What it does is it's, right now it's a $4 million appropriation per year to fund this program. But the cancer piece, all that hazard, those occupational hazards are covered by a separate insurance policy that insures all the firefighters throughout the state. So that's how we're able to do a $5.7 million in payout, because it's actually, we're insuring them through an insurance company, which makes it reasonable for us to do that and economically possible.
Yeah, you mentioned how this program is economically efficient, and we love hearing those words, especially during these tight budget times.
Well, exactly, and you know, this was a unique deal. When we tried to get it through the legislature, a lot of the legislators struggled on understanding how this actually worked, because it wasn't a state program. It is a state program, but it's not managed by state people, right? It's managed through the Department of Public Safety to MnFire, and MnFire is the organization that actually puts this thing and makes it actually work.
Well, speaking of the Department of Public Safety, you know, they were dinged by the Office of the Legislative Auditor in 2023 for their management of the program. There were some growing pains there that needed to be addressed. I know this is so personal to you. So when that report came out, you know, how did you respond to that?
I immediately called MnFire and said, hey, what's going on? And so we had a great discussion, and I think it was really a disconnect with the communication between the Department of Public Safety and MnFire. And I think they assumed that MnFire knew what some of this terminology meant, but what happens in state government, the requirements that we require, isn't always the same in the business world. So, you know, the report, I think, was critical. They went back, they looked at it. I mean, the biggest discrepancy was a double payment, I think, of something about $2,300 that they paid twice on the invoicing piece. That's all been corrected. In fact, the officer, the OLA, the Office of Legislative Auditor, came back, re-looked at them and said, yep, you guys have taken care of all your problems. So that's the key, is when you get a report, is to actually make those adjustments and make this work. And MnFire has done that. I think there's a better understanding now between the Department of Public Safety and what the requirements they require from MnFire to make that happen. So I don't anticipate any more issues down that. But it was a concern when it first came out.
Well, we love to hear that it's been corrected. And something else that we love to hear is that the most recent iteration of the bill received unanimous bipartisan support in the Senate and in the House. That is a feat during these times. How did that happen?
It doesn't happen very often, and so it is unique, and I think people really see the value and have seen the value of this program as we've rolled it out and as it continues to provide assistance to all of our firefighters out there and first responders. And as you know, we struggle to keep them in boots. We struggle in the recruitment. I think this is an excellent recruitment tool to actually know that we actually care and we actually value their service. And I think this is an excellent way to assist them in staying in the fight and staying in and keeping public safety in the front of people.
You have been recognized for your work on this, for the assistance you have provided. You know, the Minnesota Fire Association Coalition recognized you. So I think it's really safe to say that this work is part of your legacy. How does that feel?
Well, as this is my last year, that it feels good that there's a program out there that I helped, and there was a lot of people involved in making this happen. And so this isn't, I was just honored to be a small part of making this thing happen, but it is true that we've worked very hard to make this a good program, and it's an honor to be recognized, to be a small part of making this a reality.
It's a good program. Could it be better? What do you want to see happen for it next in the future? Well,
as this thing is providing great assistance to the current firefighters, there are retired firefighters that continue to deal with this. I was just at a luncheon with some retired firefighters that I worked with. There was probably 20 of us there, and I noticed that one of my fellow colleagues was missing part of his nose, and he said, "It's my 20th cancer surgery." And I said, "Holy smokes, how many of you guys have all dealt with this?" And there was probably 2/3 of them that raised their hand, which we don't have a program really for those retired firefighters that we need to look at. So that's one aspect we could look at. But the other aspect is this works very well to help reduce PTSD and those anxiety issues that we deal with the tragic events, and it's been working very well with the firefighters. I'm wondering if we could do this for possibly the peace officers, the licensed, our police officers, and see if we can start a program that can deal with them, or in fact maybe incorporate them into this program. And I think it would be economical. It'd continue to keep our administrative costs down. So that's another avenue that we're exploring to see if that's a possibility.
Senator, you've served in the Navy, in the Minnesota Army National Guard, as a firefighter, a city councilman, as a representative, and as a senator. You have a legacy of service. What has inspired you to do all of this?
Well, if you ask my wife what I do, she says I'm a public servant. And I truly believe that it's an opportunity to give back. I was not a bright student when I was in high school. I was probably number 43 out of 46 kids in my high school class. Probably one of the last things people would think I would be doing was sitting here as a senator in this state. But it's important to me to actually give the opportunity, and the good Lord has given me opportunities to serve in a number of different capacities, and I'm honored to have that opportunity to serve not only the people of my community in different fashions, but the state and the nation. That's truly an opportunity to serve. Not many people get that opportunity, and it's truly an honor. It's not a. That's all I can say. It's a privilege to be able to serve.
Senator, that spirit of, live to give makes you the perfect person to be here. And you mentioned you plan to retire, so we'll miss you. But what's next for you, Senator?
Good question, but I've been here 14 years, which is longer than I anticipated. With 38 years in the military and 27 years in the fire service, I think it's time to spend some time with family, maybe do some little traveling, and I still got a business to run, so. Still active.
Keep him busy. Oh, Senator, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.